Make sure it's all good, right?
Yeah. All right. Is this the world of filtration? I like that, the world of filtration. Is this not cool, guys? Look at this world of filtration. This was done by a beautiful YouTuber. And we're going to pass them out. It shows what we're looking for. And I think it's just another nice little tool to show people exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for filtration in the kidneys because, the kidneys control the gigantic lymphatic system. And by opening up that door, you now have created the magic, the movement, the hydration, especially with the raw foods now, you're creating the hydration. That takes these stagnant fluids and starts to hydrate them. It starts to give them more fluidity. It starts to give them more movements. You start filtering. You start to notice your swellings going down. You start to notice your tumors going down. Thanks, Drew. Thanks. And so filtration of the kidneys is key. Even though that's not what our society thinks about right now, it's what we need to get them to think about. The kidneys, the filtrations. Hello, everyone. Beautiful, isn't it? I thought that was done real well by a fellow YouTuber. Met with her yesterday. She did a great job. Graphic design artist. We're going to put those out there. I thought it was pretty cool. It feels good to have a team of every one of you guys with us. And moving down this road, we're already hearing changes around the world, people getting their health back all over the place, and that's just, we need to keep moving forward. Keep giving love and hugs and health and vitality and get moving these humans out of these lower levels of despair and unhappiness, So you guys, I'm real proud of every one of you. You're doing well. You hang in there. You keep moving your body through this. Remember balance. And maybe what we'll do is just the part 2 here just for a minute of the individuality of detoxification. Because every time you do something, you think things you could add to things. But individuality of detoxification also, you have to look at the ability to handle herbs, and we've talked about that hopefully in the last one. The inability to handle fruit. Some people, as we've talked about, can't handle an all-fruit diet yet. It's just too powerful. It's too aggressive on their system. Their bodies are ready to explode. And a lot of people don't realize when you start to feel the pressures building up in the body, you feel like you want to explode, whether it's the heart, whether it's the brain. So there's some serious stuff coming down the pikes here with these lymphatic issues so strong here. So I appreciate you all working on each and every person that you are. We had one case over the weekend of a Dimitri in the group working with a quad. Now, you guys are doing such a good job. And I talked to the mother, and I love the mother. The mother understands. This is, I think, a C4, C5 quad. They're getting feelings now in her feet. She's a little thin. She's 80 pounds. She had to go. Now, this is where you separate the men from the boys. This is where the art of detoxification comes in here. And this is also where the medical community needs to smarten up a little bit. Because as we grow and people learn that the golden key to wellness is simple. And everyone holds it. The ability to change the diet to the diet that the body's meant to have, the diet the body's designed after. And if you look at this like I have, and you tear this apart, you look at all the vertebrates on the planet, you look at all the foods on the planet, you look at the chemistry of the food, you look at the digestive factors of the vertebrates, you come to one conclusion: we're frugivores. Even though we might not be able to. I just talked to a gentleman in northern Michigan having a hard time getting fruit up there, and it's true. So, except for the frustrations many of us share with getting good food, there are those of you that have access to incredible fruits and berries and melons. Take advantage of that and really take your body into well. So there's so much here. Now, when you're detoxifying a quadriplegic, or particularly a quadriplegic, because they're paralyzed here as well, many of them are breathing okay, but when you start breaking up, and every one of you, when you go through detoxification, there will be a point when you start detoxifying up here. The lungs, the bronchi, the sinuses, and particularly the lungs and bronchi. And when you get into these lower lobes, you've got a lot of thick mucus that's stayed and built up in these lower lobes, and that has to come out. Well, imagine a quad that doesn't have the neurological power to cough like they should. So serious stuff. This is very serious stuff. I had a C3, C4 quad once going through this. We didn't have a suction machine. We took her to the ER in Tampa. I fought with the ER doc telling him, this is mucus coming out. You need to suction, no antibiotics. Well, this kid thought I was a radical guy, gave her antibiotics and killed her right there in the ER. They got her back, killed her again, got her back, finally stabilized her after 3 times in going into a code, and then dumped her into a hospital to die. Well, we got the family, we got her out of there, took her home, rented a suction machine, and pulled her right out of it. And that's the thing. Most people don't die of pneumonia. They die from the complications, meaning the treatment of pneumonia. Same thing with cancers. Remember, CBS did a special showing you live a lot longer if you do nothing. We got to get away from this radicalness, this power to be the ego, and get into reality and what people need and how to get people well. And we need you ER docs on board. I spent a lot of years in the emergency room, and you guys need us. You might not believe this, but you need us real bad, because we can show you things you can do in the ER that will surpass what you're doing by far. But we need the emergency room to stabilize. We need equipment to stabilize people sometimes, because we have real special cases. And a quad, again, a detoxification scenario is a special case, particularly those that are heavily lymphatic up. And we have others in special cases. We have people with internal bleeding. We have people that need to have the lungs aspirated, or the ascites taken out of the gut. We need ERs to help us. And you ER docs need to understand the importance of what we're doing and how you get people well so you can help in that process. And working together, we help all these people that the World Health Organizations would prefer to die. So it's just one of those things, and make the experience on planet Earth a little more pleasurable for souls. You got all these young new souls coming in. These young children are the golden children, the Aquarian children, all kinds of names they've been called, but these are the higher souls. Look at them. They already are come with a huge awareness. These kids are doing what I was doing in high school at 10 years old. So that's the thing, you know. I'm real proud of each and every one of you for what you're doing and working on yourselves. You know, sometimes the answer to something is good, but the process, it can take a while, and that's the thing. Don't ever get disheartened. Always pull yourself back up and get into yourself. Take that time alone and spend it with you, to where you're secure in the self, and nothing can take you off of that. You've got your joy back. You've got your happiness back. Get your body back so you have an enjoyment in your journey while you're here. And learn to be the watcher of life instead of the thinker and the ball that bounces from one experience to another in an unconscious way. Become the conscious one who knows and works from a position of awareness, of knowingness, and of truth. And you're doing it. You guys are doing really well. So what I'm going to do is read a few of these. I'm sure that some of these older emails, guys, I probably am not going to get to in reality. So if you've got questions, please resubmit them. I've said this several times, but sometimes you guys get ahead of me. So write them up and send them in, and I'm going to try to keep this ball rolling. Looks like I'm going to have some more time coming up. That's what we're trying to do. And maybe I can make a lot more videos. I know we got all those videos down, and so I really apologize that we haven't got them up yet. It's a lot of work. I was telling Chris, so we got to get those 800 videos up, and he said, that'll take me a year. So that's the problem. We've got all these videos to re-get up, and we don't know how to get them up in any type of timely manner. So this is, please advise hair loss. I am a 31-year-old type 1 diabetic for 24 years. So this poor lad was about 7 years old and had had hypothyroidism for 11 years. So this is interesting right off. When someone starts talking in this vein, I want you guys to start thinking, okay, thyroid. Also remember there is a neurological. Now we're going to do a video coming up here. Marcy wants to do it with me because she's a type 1, but we want to do it together to explain to you these different sugar metabolism problems versus the insulin carrier problem and that sort of thing. So you understand when medical doctors use this idea of diabetes type 1 or diabetes type 2 or hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, which is type 2, you know what's going on there. Now I know we've done it on other videos, but I think by doing these individual videos, they'll be very helpful. There's a lot of turmoil going on right now in the universe, and some things are being worked out. So my first thought here right off is hypothyroidism, and then you've got a beta cell insulin problem, and I'm starting to think maybe neurological diabetes, because I'm thinking also maybe pituitary. So let's keep that pituitary in mind all the time, since it controls the thyroid. You know, it controls the pancreas, it controls all the endocrine glands. So it's just something let's keep in the back of our mind as we journey through this. I have been all fruit and about 8 to 9 God's herbs for 2 months, but transitioned to raw 4 months ago. Trying to heal myself, but my most major concern is my absolute extreme hair loss from hypothyroidism. Okay, so, I'm going to say this. It's possible, maybe, that the thyroid gland controls hair growth, only in the sense of metabolism, in my opinion. What really affects hair growth is a condition of the blood and the fluid that flows around the cells that deal with the hair follicles. So you've got to understand that the fluids control the health of the cells. That's important for us YouTubers to understand, that when we look at tissue, whether it's scalp, whether it's brain, whether it's liver, or whether it's heart, whether it's kidneys, adrenals, whether it's ovaries or prostates, we're looking at cells and 2 fluids, cells and 2 fluids, cells and 2 fluids. So the fluids take care of the cells. Now the cells are what's genetic. There's no question. Cells get their memory patterns from their parents, right? Just like we do. So the parent cell, of course, the man and the woman, houses all the memory patterns. That's why it's important to look at life spiritually and to start learning about consciousness and awareness, because applied, you will see things much differently than viewing from a limited perspective of a finite view. The more you become the watcher, the less finite you are. The less finite you see yourself, the less finite you're looking. Therefore, the answers of the universe start coming in more. You start seeing more because you're open to what already exists. It's all out there. Why aren't you seeing it? I say that to myself. Why can't I see that? Because I'm in the way. My ego's in the way. My thoughts are in the way. My desires are in the way. So when you go back and you look at different religions and you look at different teachings and spiritual teachings, you find that those are the things they're talking about. Stop desiring. Buddha talked a lot about that. Jesus talked a lot about that. Stop wanting, stop desiring. And you see that these guys are portrayed in a poverty scenario, meaning that materiality is oftentimes your trap, because your desires bind you to the object of your desires. So by freeing yourself up from desire doesn't mean you have to free yourself up from having fun and experiencing things. But it frees you from the chain and the lock that your desires create. Because remember, when you don't get what you want, you get mad or you get unhappy. That means your desire just controlled your happiness, your joy. So by freeing yourself from that doesn't mean you free yourself from the experience of life, but from certain experiences that could hold you or trap you for quite a while. Sometimes our desires hold us, they say, for lifetimes. So it's enough to say that by growing in allowing yourself to see more, it's just amazing how that brings you into such a joy and a happiness. And it brings you out of this negative morass of positive and negative and up and down and all those sort of things, you know. So hair loss to me is predominantly a fluid problem. And it can be a cell problem from the sense that my dad was bald there and now I'm getting bald there, where there's no question that all cells are genetic thinkers. We also know, however, that in the genetically compromised or weaker areas in the body, Jensen talked a great deal about this, that there was a compromising blood and lymph flow to a certain degree. And I can't speak to the blood flow, to be honest with you, but I can totally speak to the lymph flow because we have the eyes. And by looking at the iris analysis, it kind of gives us an understanding why we see our genetic weaknesses getting weaker, and that these are the areas that we predominantly have our problems in. So, and this is true with hair loss. You know, but you have to go back to the original issue, and that is the fluid. Remember, you have to go back and correct the cause of the problem. Even in a genetic stance, you've got to go back and correct the cause of the problem. And the cause of the problem to the cell is always going to be the nature of the fluids. Well, the nature of the fluids in your body is directly related to your chemistry of your consumption, your drinking, your eating, your breathing, and what gets on your skin. Those are the 4 ways of consumption, and you have to look at that. What are you consuming? What type of chemistry are you consuming? Is it predominantly base chemistry or alkaline, or is it predominantly acidic chemistry? Does this food putrefy and rot and cause high acidosis? That would be your animal products. Does this food cause hard to digest and acidosis? That's your beans and your grains. Is this food complex chemistry, like complex sugars, which this type 1 would never want? That would be your starches, carbohydrates, but your starches, which is your complex sugars. You know, when you avoid complex foods, complex sugars, which is starches, complex fats, complex proteins or amino acids, which are proteins, you feel better, you are better, you digest better, you have more energy. All these factors are true because no animal likes to consume complex foods except carnivores, which is their lot. And if you look at how they eat, I think you'll see the way they eat is interesting. So in a hair loss situation, I created that upper circulation formula not only to move blood aggressively into brain tissue, which brings in the goodies. Remember, blood's always alkaline, or right? So that blood brings in the goodies. It brings in the force of hydration, the alkalinity, the power, the enzymes. That's why raw foods are so important. This chemistry, these flavonoids, these enzymes, all this live nutrition gets up and starts hydration, starts to move and break down this solidified fluid, this dehydrated fluid from acidosis, which is interstitial fluid. Call it lymph. It's the best way to look at it. And so when that begins to happen, you get nutrition and you get energy and you get acids out and nutrition into those hair follicles. They start growing. And I don't care how long you're balding, but this tells you, my friend, that you've got lymphatic problems all in your head. Either your thyroid is suppressed from the lymph system, or it's suppressed because the pituitary is suppressed, therefore suppressing the thyroid and maybe parathyroid glands. Genetically could be weak in that area, but from the same issue, unless you had trauma to the throat, which that much trauma would probably kill you. So in a hair loss situation, fix up your bowels, clean up, get your kidneys filtering, Get your kidneys filtering, or you're going to have a hard way to go. Upper circulation and brain and nerve always when you're bald. And keep watching, keep draining the sinuses, keep the bowels, and pretty soon you'll see sprouts all over the place. I don't care how bald and how long you've been that way. And the problem is, it's a serious problem. We've done enough videos about hair loss here, and this is a serious issue. It's more serious than you realize because it leads to dementia and Alzheimer's. You know, because these acids that are breaking down the hair follicles are breaking down what else? So this is real important. I'm glad you're asking me this, my friend, because it's real important. And this is Tamara. And this is a female. It started 11 years ago after I had my daughter. My hair would fall out for 3 to 5 months every year, sometimes skipping a year, but mostly every year like clockwork, would fall out extreme amounts daily. But now this past year it's fallen out in large amounts every day. So you really, honey, you really want to get it with this upper circuit, brain, and nerve at the same time. You look at this thyroid. Look at your case and see if you have a pituitary link there. That brain and nerve is going to help if it's a neurological type 1. Go into the pancreatic formula if you want. We have the healthy glucose you can use to help with the blood sugars, but go into that pancreas and make it healthy again. But to do that, you also have to get the lymph moving. You know, you can go into tissue by using an herbal formula for that tissue. Like you can use herbs for the pancreas to help the pancreas, but you have to remember that the reason the pancreas gets in trouble, or the liver gets in trouble, or the heart gets in trouble is 9 times out of 10 the lymphatic system. On top of genetics, if you like, doesn't matter. It's the lymph system, not the blood that's getting you. It's the lymph system that's getting you. And by getting this kidney filtration going, by getting the adrenals up, your neurotransmitters and your steroids, everything starts to take place. And this type 1 diabetes could be neurological, tied right back again to the adrenal glands, to tell you the truth. So you always work on the adrenal glands and blood sugar problems. Matter of fact, I don't know of any case you don't work on the adrenal glands, to be honest with you. So real important there to work on this. Use a glandular if you want to bring up your thyroid, but the question is it a pituitary problem suppressing the thyroid? Look at your TSHs in your blood work. Are they real low? If they're real low and the other T4 and T3s aren't very high either, then go after your pituitary gland. Might not hurt to do 1 bottle of pituitary anyway here. Hair loss is suggesting that you're highly acidic all in your head, honey, and this would also could affect the pineal and give you some insomnia too. It is falling out with no end in sight. I have been taking upper circuit, brain, and nerve. All right. And even herbs of yours these 2 months, hoping this will cease. Well, at the same time, keep working, sweetheart, on the mid. Don't get frustrated. Keep working on your lymph system. You got to get into that and move that lymph system. That's really key to this success as well. Keep working. Don't get frustrated. Keep going. Keep working. Detox deeper. You got to get rid of type 1 anyway. So you got to rebuild the pancreas, the beta cells. If indeed it's not a neurological, if it is, you got to rebuild the myelin sheaths anyway. And you want to do that, you know, this will take care of it anyway. I made a great post on the Facebook fan page about the good results I had in the first few weeks. It seemed my hair loss stopped for a week, and then also blood sugar's better. Hair loss is now back full force. Well, you're just into the mix. And this is, and by the way, since she brought this up, let's talk about this, because this is another thing in talking about detoxification and the individuality of detoxification. This is another good point here, and that is, if you haven't noticed, most of you see your symptoms go away pretty quick. A lot of them, not your real chronic, but a lot of them go away real quick. You're doing better, and then wham! They're coming right back, right? I don't know why I can say that is, other than that is classic detox. Classic detox is, wow, this is good, it's working. And maybe it's just it's designed there to give you that, I can accomplish this. But it is classic, and it is known that this comes roaring back. Watch your diet, don't pull back, go deeper. Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. And keep digging into that body. How you go deeper and how you dig in moves yourself closer to fasting. You get your fruit juices, you get your fruits, and then you can jump into water fasting. Those are the high levels of detoxification. If you're not there, then yeah, it's going to be a slow road to Wellville, especially if you're having more than, say, 20% vegetables. It's going to be a slower road to Wellville. I prefer the motor to go. And so that is getting up there on fruit fast. Honey, you might have to do a 30-day grape fast now and then. I don't know what your lymph system looks like, but keep digging in. Don't give up. If your diet changed, you'll see that right off, and you can watch that. If you fell off the wagon, you'll see that symptoms going back. Your symptoms won't go back when you get to Wellville. When you get to the point where you've moved that lymph adequately enough, you're getting new hair growth, you won't lose it anymore. So I also want you to think pituitary, thyroid. Use your glandulars, if you will, and get them up functioning. Check your basal temperatures for your thyroid gland. You know, we can almost do a video per letter, really. There's just so much here. But this is a common thing, and I want you all to see that. And most of you have experienced it. And matter of fact, here's another thing. And I'll just give you a couple of cases. One was a scleroderma case, and one was an MS case. Both of them were close to where the symptoms were all gone. And this is a little different. This happens. This can happen right off, where you do it 2 months and everything's better, and then all the things seem to come roaring back. That's because you're digging in and bringing them off to the surface. So remember that. This is a little different because this also happens where you're getting better. The scleroderma, I don't know if you all know scleroderma, but you never want to go there. That's where the acids are so bad that you actually start scarring. You start scarring everywhere, and it just closes you off, and you die from can't breathe. It scars you and closes you off, kind of like cystic fibrosis. You know, all that sort of thing of acids and what strong acids can do to the tissues of the body and the tendons and the muscles and all of that. And so this was like a 19-year-old scleroderma case, and I had her, and she was better, and pretty soon her factors are almost all gone. She's doing so good, and then wham, she calls me, says, I got it back full force. Now, we think in terms of diseases because the medical doctors have trained us that way. But in reality, this has nothing to do with anything called a disease because that's an illusionary concept. So what was going on? So I told her, hang in there. Just hang in there. Kick it up a little bit more, but hang in there. And sure enough, that was a short-term detox, and bam, gone. Totally gone. Same thing with an MS case once. Same thing. Toward the end, she could walk and everything's good, and then, oh no, symptoms are coming back. Hang in there. Keep pushing. Push through it. Gone. MS gone. That sort of thing. So remember those things, because it isn't that it's not working. It is part of the working process. That's about detoxification, the art of detoxification, understanding the individuality of detoxification. Also, knowing that some will go through that, some won't have to go through that. But in some cases, just remember the symptoms can come back with a vengeance. And that's when you do better. You've got it on the run. The run means it's coming out. And you're seeing it come out, but it's coming out. Get it on the run. And that's what you're doing. And just keep going there. Don't give up. There is remedy at the end of the tunnel, I'm telling you. Some people have to work a little harder for their health issues. Especially you younger people who are coming in here with some pretty good complicated genetics here and everything else. So hang in there. Don't give up on that, ever. So scared, it is so thin. I know I am very acidic, absolutely. Been to 8 allopathic docs, and they all say it is not my thyroid. Because it's not your thyroid. It's all acidosis, sweetheart. It's all acidosis. It is just an old wise tale that when your thyroid is down, you have hair loss. I don't see that, other than the effect of metabolism, which would affect maybe blood flow or something, I don't know. But the bottom line to hair loss, or any loss of tissue, is acidosis. Plain and simple, and just what you said here. So don't give up. Hang in there and beat this thing. You're not going to let it beat you. You're going to beat it. And the diabetes too, we call it diabetes, but sugar, insulin problems. Fix those beta cells. Get them up there and on again. But Take a look at that. Check your basal temperatures. You might not have a thyroid problem at all. You're just maybe assuming that because of the hair loss. So check your basal temperatures. If it's low, pump up your thyroid. Look at your other factors for pituitary, your menses. Is your menses regular? Check and see some things like that. How tall or how short are you? Look at a few factors that we can tell that the pituitary would create. And then take a look at that. But we all know hair loss comes from a low thyroid. No, we don't. No, we don't. That's an old wives' tale. I think what you see is the same reason you have hypothyroid is the same reason you have hair loss. See the difference? And that reason is acidosis, which is stagnant lymph. That's why you see most people with nodules growing in their thyroids and a little bit of a goiter at times. This is typical in most people. And it's simply just telling you, sweetheart, that it's your lymphatic system that's a problem, not your thyroid. Your thyroid is another victim, as your hair is. See? Turn it around. It is so that I'm so depressed. Don't be depressed. I take glandulars such as your adrenals, thyroid, and pituitary. So it's not glands. Right there, it's in your face, sweetheart. It's not your glands, it's your lymph. Get on your lymph deeper. You're doing good. You're doing good, but dig in the lymph. Forget the glands. Don't overhit the glands when you don't need them. You don't have to hit them till you don't need them. I think you ought to check your basal, see where you're at, pull yourself off the glandulars. I see thyroid weakness in my iris. Okay, work on that till your basals are good. But go lymph, honey, go lymph. I see orange in the pituitary in my irises. However, one iris I see less orange. Good deal. It is clearing up. See what I'm saying, sweetheart? You got to keep digging and keep digging. Don't sweat the small stuff. I know what hair is to a female, so keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. Massage the scalp, just to get lymph moving around the best you can. Work on these spots down the back of your spine, the neurolymphatic spots. Work on those spots. Get that drainage going out of the brain here, and that way you can replace that acidosis with a good pH balance there. That'll help. Obviously, you have sulfur, so that might be holding you back a little bit with bowel drainage and stuff like that, holding the sinuses down a little bit. So that's what I'm saying. Keep pulling on that sulfur, which I often refer to as super glue, because it's hard to get out sometimes. Once you get it on the run, though, and I think that's just a matter of hydration of fluid, to be honest with you. However, when I see less orange, I did a 10-day grape fast, and so I had orange urine. Woo-hoo! Aha! Now, this YouTuber is kicking. Tamara, you're kicking butt, honey. And all I can say is you just keep going. Don't let the negative come in. Don't let it pull you away. And just keep on going. Because I've never found hair loss to be thyroid. I've always found it to be lymph. Okay. Hooray for that. Exactly. This is good sign. This is good stuff. But what can I do to stop the hair loss, Dee? You're my only hope. Well, honey, listen, just do what we're talking about and you'll make it. P.S. Thank you so much for answering my previous call. You betcha. And listen, but this is for everyone out there. And it's also for you healers, because you're going to get into frustrating clients that are working hard to get their health back. And sometimes you do. You have to work hard. You keep working and you make it happen. That's what I'm saying. You don't jump from one thing to another. When you understand what's up and what the gig is, then don't be jumping around. Put your full force, your full power into that. And get it well. Get yourself where you want to get yourself. Don't be the leaf blowing in the wind. You were 8 physicians, and they still couldn't help you. But they did tie you into the thyroid, that it wasn't the thyroid. But check your basal temperatures and stuff like that. Get your lymph moving up there. Keep with the upper circumbrain and nerve. But keep getting this bowel cleaned up. Keep looking for that orange urine. Orange urine means you've had that sulfur since you were a kid, and it's all through you. So interesting. Good job. Good job. So I just keep working that, honey. Because guarantee you'll get your hair back. Guarantee you. Just keep working it. Skin problems. This is Rhina? I have been watching your videos and sending in questions for a few years now. Oh, good. I have tried almost everything. When I first went raw, I started breaking out severely. I read this one. I tried fruit fast, mono meals, all fruit. I even water fasted for 7 days, and my skin is still giving me major problems. I tried glandulars. I was taking your herbs, adrenals, kidneys, 1 caps, kidneys, 2 liquid, and lymphatic 4. My skin is still breaking out. I eat fruit for breakfast, salads for dinner. I eat every lunch very much. I don't eat lunch very much because I am usually working. Maybe some fresh juice instead. I have no idea what to do. Should I water fast for 20 days? Woohoo! Yeah, you know, that's a long time. I wouldn't do that. I would go back to the fruit fast, though. I'd go back to the grape fast and stuff, absolutely. Or the lemon juice fast, you know. I really was planning on doing this. While I was fasting, my skin really cleared up, but after a few weeks, it started to break out again. My blood test showed that I have a slow thyroid, so that could also be contributing. Good catch. Absolutely could be contributing in the inability of your body to get the heat it needs to sweat. Now, find a steam sauna somewhere where you can use essential oils, use lemon or some good essential oil for detoxification, and start getting your skin opened up. This just shows you, sweetheart, how clogged up your subcutaneous tissues are, tied right into the lymph nodes, tied right into the lymph system, honey. And this is just telling you. Get your kidneys filtering, number 1. I love this. All right? Number 2, clean up your bowels. Get your eliminative organs, because this is an eliminative organ. And it's burdened. It's burdened down. And it's showing you that it's overburdened. Now, this is accumulation from since you were in your mother. So your skin is burdened. And it's showing you that. It's showing you the acids on your skin. You just have no other recourse but to keep digging in. That's it. You can't, there's no magic anywhere. The magic is that you have the power to win this and get this. That's the magic. It takes work sometimes and it's hard, and I know you're already working hard. That maybe that's what this video is about today for all of us, is to relax, get your joy back. It's just a body, it's not you. Separate yourself from your body, guys. Don't let your body bring you down and depressed. It's just a machine you're using, but a very aware machine. So, and work on that. Keep digging into your lymphatic systems, because you're taking on the hardest thing you've ever taken on in your life. 2 things. Get yourself out of creation and get your body free from lymph stagnation. These things are 2 of the hardest things there is to do, yet the simplest in understanding. It's easy to understand how you can have God consciousness. Not so easy to step back away from the desire of the mind to think and the action of the desires. It's difficult to do those things, and yet it's the most simplest thing to understand there is. The same thing with health. This is easy to understand, but boy, you got to roll up your sleeves and dig into that body. And what this tells you, got to look at your eyes here, but what this tells you, you're pretty backed up. That's all this is telling you, as much as you've done. But what shows you is that when you go on these fasts, it clears up. That's because you're starting to push it through the kidneys. That's where your problem is, and that's what brings you into an awareness. Now, oh, look, my kidneys might not be filtering as good as they should. I'm going to keep hitting my kidneys, and that's why we do 2 kidney formulas. My God. But always go to the adrenals. Remember, the adrenals turn on the kidneys. So always adrenals, the kidneys, and the lymphatics. Keep working it. Try the skin formula. Keep working it. And if you're real healthy, you could do a cold sheet treatment. You'd have to write in. It's in the book, but you'd have to write in on that one. I do not advise a cold sheet treatment on somebody that is real weak neurologically. That is not good. You, as an MS case or some neurological case, would never want to do a cold sheet treatment. That's when you get into a bath of extremely hot. You can use mustard. You can use minor pepper. You can use some real hot things in a bath. Get yourself way out there in sweating. I mean, the way Richard Schultz teaches it, almost till you pass out, and then pull up and take a cold shower or whatever, and wrap a cold, or put your sheets in the freezer and wrap your body in cold sheets, and it'll suck that toxins out of the skin. So you can do that, especially if you have a fairly good energy level. You can do a cold sheet treatment, but open up that skin, get that skin to breathe, but get those kidneys opened up to relieve that skin. and keep working on that. You guys that have had these chronic skin problems, do not get frustrated, guys, because there's nothing out there. And all this Accutane, there's still people taking Accutane after it became a bad drug and people are suing over it. I just freaks me out. You can't find remedy with pharmaceuticals. You can't find remedy with suppression of your body's lymph system, because it'll just wake up tomorrow with something you really don't want, something much worse, and we generally define it as a C word. You cannot retain acids and lymph and ever think you're going to get over it. And that's why medical doctors don't cure. Got to be frustrating for those guys to constantly see these cases. I had one guy in here talking about skin problems, and he'd been to many dermatologists, and they're just throwing stuff at him. They didn't know. Well, you guys know. And you take that knowingness and you make it work. You've got to apply it. You've got to work it to your case. You're an individual. You came along as an individual. Your lymphs are individual. So some of you have pretty backed up lymphatic systems, no question about it. And you just have to keep working those out. Don't get frustrated. Don't get depressed. The body isn't yours. You're using it. Get happy in the allness that who you are. The fact that you have consciousness and awareness. You can get the body healthy. Just keep working on it. So what else here? Yeah, if you have a little low thyroid, then do your basal temperatures and use a thyroid glandular or use a herbal thyroid, things like that. Use kelp if you want, but head after that arena and take care of that. Healthy fat consumption. Somebody asked me about this. Dean here. First of all, thank you so much for addressing my question on Q&A 186. You're welcome, my friend. I'm blessed to help you guys. I'm here to do this. I finally people have been around me, have known that what my mission has been for a long time, and I just really I'm here for you guys, and so I'm here to help you in every way I possibly can, because what helps you helps me, helps the whole universe, and helps the God state. And that's the importance, because how you experience, remember, everything you experience is God experiencing it with you. You and God are the same. So everything you experience, that's why you're the individual. That's why you're in an individual focus and drama and whatever you want to call it. Everything is an individual, so God can experience itself unlimitedly. And this goes so deep and so broad, just creation itself. There's just no words, no physical words. You can only experience these things. So what you're experiencing, so is God. So is all of life, because we're all one. So remember, when there's a ripple in the water, it ripples out and touches all the shores and all the world. So just remember that. You're part of the whole. Your action affects all of us. That's what's so brutal with this level. And all these governments and all these people, all actions affect us all. And so it's time that we all lay down our weapons of the ego and of the desires and become one in a healthy state. So this time I'm writing in regards to a little debate that is happening on the Facebook. All right. There are opposing ideas on how much healthy fat a person should eat. You mean fatty acids, right? On one side, people are saying eat lots of fruit and keep the fat intake fairly low. And on the other side, people are saying not to be concerned about the amount of fat, but make sure it is healthy fat, avocados, nuts, seeds, coconut meat, and stuff. Well, you know what? I think that if you take a look in nature, and you take a look at the primate family in general, they're not on high-fat diets. I think that moderate fat intake, fatty acid intake, is essential. It comes in the fruits already, and just certain fruits are higher in it. I think when it comes to the concentrated foods of nuts and seeds, though, you have to be careful, because nowadays it's easy to grab a handful of almonds and eat them. I got into almonds and raisins when I had the health food stores, and I just sucked down the nuts like crazy. Ha! That's why I tell you guys about nuts. Like, it's not my idea, it's what I experienced. And now I experience all these years working on all other people, I see they experience the same thing. So this is why we learn and how we learn. But it's easy to do that nowadays. But if you had to pick the shell off of nuts, you wouldn't do too many. So that's the problem, is overdoing anything. I think that we all need to get our intuitiveness in line. And you eat to what your body wants. And get your body healthy in the first place, so it has some semblance of understanding of the foods that you're putting in it and how and what it needs out of those foods you're using. And then, of course, you're always breathing in hydrogen, so you're always bringing in a form of fat. So just remember that eat intuitively sometimes. And I know that to some people that's a steak or a piece of whitefish, John. But you know, that's really not intuitive eating. That is desire eating. At the same time, though, it could be there's a time where you might need something in something that your body just really wants, and you can't break the craving and just do it and move on. You know, it's just hard to tell. The body is so wise, but it is so programmed. And it needs to be reprogrammed to a higher level of food choices. Once you go raw for a few months, hard to go back, isn't it? Your body don't want to go back. It loves the new life of energy and chemistry. It's just that we're so working from a position of Hellville for most of you guys. This poor lady with the skin problems, Casa Deep, you know, it's a form of Hellville for her. And the hair loss, you know, and not a pretty thing. But you're fixing, remember this, guys, you're taking the time in your life to fix these. Pull yourself back always when you can to the diet and the detox. Don't have to detox forever. That's for sure. But detox till you get where you want to be. And you stay there. You're stabilized there. Then you're good. But if you see your body going back, you didn't get deep enough. You didn't get far enough. You didn't give yourself a cure, a remedy. You got yourself close. And you're working yourself, but not there yet. So you keep digging until you're there. And you have no skin expression. Your hair's growing. Things like that. It's just you're not there yet. That's all that is. It can be frustrating, time-consuming, absolutely. But there's no other answers out there. We're reversing how this is created, remember? We know that there's no treatment-based thinking that's relative because most of these hold no remedy for you. Some hold a little improvement, but they don't hold remedy. Some that hold improvement have a gnarly little side effect to make you worse in the long run, like steroids. So you've got to just be smart, and we've learned enough. And the humans have learned enough allopathically to go, whoops, can't do that. So keep working. You'll be working fine. Go by your inner guidance. If you feel like you need more fat and you're sucking down those avocados and coconuts, suck them down. If you don't and you feel like the fruits are adequate, be fine. If you look at the primate, I don't think any animal anywhere consumes high fats. I don't think you see that anywhere. So I think you have to be cautious. The FDA considers fat, the fats in foods the most toxic, the oils basically. And so you have to be careful with oils and fats. You just have to be careful with those fatty acids. Simple chain fatty acids is what the body requires, like simple chains of amino acids and simple chains of carbon, which is known as simple sugars, fructose, glucose, and galactose, which is only used in the earlier years of the babies, remember? I got to go here in a minute. I just wanted to do a short video and say hi. I love you guys so much, and I love all you beautiful souls, all these things you're doing. You guys, I'm telling you, you're part of the new movement to bring the planet into a much higher level. I talked to a guy this morning involved in other forms of life and other areas. And, it's all in the process of trying to help this planet to lift itself up. And, you guys are a major part of this. Don't sell yourself short. You are a major part of this. I saw views years ago in meditation where I had souls lined up on each side of me, and we were moving into creation here to make a difference. And you're that group. I love y'all. Okay, how should athletes eat? And I think this is a good question. Dr. Morse, I'm just starting out on all your videos and love them. I'm just wondering, though, with myself. I hike, I'm a basketball player, and I lift weights. Can I survive on fruits and veggies alone? I picture passing out if I do this. Correct me if I'm wrong. What kind of diet should someone like myself be on? Now, here's the thing. If indeed this guy was correct and he went into fruits and stuff and he passed out, what might you consider be one of his problems? I would go to two things. I'd go to the adrenal glands, number one, and I'd look at his blood pressure. Especially once you get all the inflammation out of the kidneys and the kidneys start settling down and start filtering, your top systolic blood pressure number is going to go down to where your genetics are in the adrenal glands, especially when you drain the lymph and get all the cysts and tumors off your adrenal glands. And then the adrenal glands are not going to be hyperstimulated, so you're going to see your blood pressure generally go like this. And then how low do you go? In the 80s or 90s, chronic adrenal weakness. And so this could be. With the adrenals also comes the blood sugar. So when the blood pressure starts to go low, might check the blood sugar too, because cortisol is going to go low maybe with that. It just depends on the individual and the genetics and the tissues involved, or the part of the adrenal glands involved, whether it's the medulla or cortex, that sort of thing. Generally both, but so watch those things. I'll say this. If you're an athlete, you want to learn about resistance and obstructions, because that's what blocks the flow of energy. We know it in electricity. My younger son's a journeyman. He studied resistance and flows. I, an old telephone man, studied resistance and flows. And so you have to look at that. The resistance we get in the human body, of course, is brought about by swelling, is brought about by acid obstruction, is brought about by dehydrating the interstitial fluids and creating a hardening, a thickening of these fluids, a slowing down of the movement of these fluids, almost a stagnation of that. These are obstructions to the flow of energy. And when you're an athlete, the less obstruction, the more endurance. And you, of course, want the adrenals to be pumping your neurotransmitters of epinephrine and norepinephrine. But you want to have good vascular flows in all this. So the best way to get those is fruits and veggies. For an athlete who wants to build muscle, you got to go to the alfalfas. Those are the wonder greens, is the alfalfas. Far exceeds wheatgrass, far exceeds barley. Shackley knew it. I knew it. I've taught alfalfa pumping for years. A great way to build muscles with flexibility. You build protein muscles, you're defeating your world as an athlete, because you're building acidosis, you're building stiffness and tightness in the body. You're not building flexibility. You're trying to build size of muscles, size of chests. I was in that one time. No. You want power, strength of cells, good fluid flow. And that way you have constant endurance. And I'm going to tell you, don't take my word for it, try this. Detox your body, get your adrenals in order, get all your glands in order as an athlete, get way up there on the fruit, and let me show you a level of energy that will freak you out. And you'll be going, how do I turn it off? That is what you want as an athlete. Pump your greens, pump your parsleys, your dandelions, your alfalfas to build muscle. Move those lymphs, clean out the obstructions so edema and swelling and acidosis from activity doesn't build resistance in you. And then clean that mind out where there's no obstructions in thought. And you're down the road, baby. You're light, you can jump, you're flexible, you're not stiff and tight, you're not losing your kidneys as protein pumpers do. And go that route. Also, I don't know if he's written a new book, but this is Steve Arden, athlete. And you can see he's got a new book. I think this is in reprint or something. But how to build extreme muscles. So that's what I would do. So I'm going to have to cut this off, guys. I love you guys. Oh man, you guys are so great. I love every one of you, and I keep doing the spiritual ones too. You know, I think that you can't separate who you are and from your bodies, and not understand that you're tied to these things. Your level of consciousness is totally affected by your bodies. And by learning how your bodies are meant to be used properly, it's like learning how to keep the physical body healthy. Then you learn how to keep your emotional body healthy and not have people walk all over your emotions. And then you learn how to keep your mind sharp and when you need it, not controlling your consciousness, but using it when you need it. You keep your ego in check. Ego keeps your individuality, and that's all it needs to do. Thank you very much. Sit in the corner. I'll call you when I need you. So work on all those things of the now and bring about your own awareness, and at the same time keep working on your body. Get it healthier, clean it out, keep cleaning if you have to. I'm sorry that some have to go through such radical cleaning, but I don't know anything else. Nothing else works. This works, but sometimes some of you guys have to dig a little deeper. So keep hanging in there. I love you all. You have a beautiful day out there. And I hope that most of you are not suffering, that you're out doing your thing. And thank you all for being a part of a major movement to uplift a whole planet. Thank you. Thank you. All the masters, thank you, by the way. Thank you.